For today's segment, we're going to be discussing reloading dies and how they work.
First, we should cover what dies do exactly. This die is your sizing and decapping die. It resizes the brass to the proper dimensions and it knocks out the old primer. One thing to note, with these resizing dies, you can also not screw them in all the way and just do neck size resizing. If you're using brass, it's going to be fired from the same gun over and over again. The gun has nice tight tolerances and it's a gun that you are well acquainted with. The next die is going to be your bullet seating die. It seats your bullets to the proper depth. And the last die is going to be your crimp die. Your crimping die gets rid of the case mouth bell that you put on your progressive press, and it crimps the bullet down so that it's seated tightly and firmly in the case neck. This can be helpful when using bullets in a magazine fired weapon, especially old-timey rifles. Sometimes the mechanisms jar the rounds so hard that the bullets might fall out if they're not crimped in. These dies are listed in order of most expensive to least expensive. Right now on Midway, these Redding dies are about $165. If you order the Dillon dies from Dillon, they're about $65. And the Lee dies are about $40. These Redding dies are hands down the most expensive dies out of this group. But they do have some really unique features that are really good. I'm not going to knock the dies at all. If I'm loading on a single stage press, I will take Redding dies. However, for a progressive press, even though these are progressive dies, they gave me a lot of issues because their tolerances are so tight. So things that are nice about these specific dies, they come with this micrometer adjustment bullet seater, which lets you dial in your bullet seating depth really nicely. Then you have a pretty standard sizing decapping die. One thing that you might notice about this die versus the others, I took the Dillon nut and put it on the Redding die because these Redding die nuts are circular. They're really hard to get a hold of. If they get stuck, they're really hard to get off. But basically their idea is they're supposed to be able to be hand tightened, and then you lock them down with this tiny little hex nut. In practice, hasn't worked out so great for me. Usually they just get stuck on the press and I don't like it. The Dillon dies are hands down my favorite to use for progressive reloading, not so much single stage, but they're designed for progressive, so that's fine. And they have a lot of really unique features. Their decapping die features a wide mouth opening, so it works a lot better in progressive presses, and then it channels the brass up inside so it loads back. One of the unique features of the Dillon reloading resizing die is this small crescent clip that attaches on the top here. It's a floating head, so it reduces the amount of breakage of decapping rods. One thing I really like about the Dillon dies is the bullet seating die comes with a stem that works for wad cutters or round nose. You simply slide it in or out, change it, put the little black pin back in, put the die back in the seat stem, put the clip on, and now you've been able to switch from wad cutter to round nose bullets all at once. Another thing that's really nice, that seating stem coming in and out allows you to clean without having to change or lose any of your adjustments. Same thing goes for the crimp die. It's dirty out, you've got lube, shavings, whatever, brush it out, put it back on, you're ready to go without losing any of your adjustments. Can't recommend the Dillon dies enough for progressive, they're great. The least expensive dies in this comparison are Lee dies, which for the price, they are pretty good, but considering the Dillon dies are $25 more, if you can spend the extra money, sorry Lee, I love you guys, but go with the Dillon. What the Lee does that's a little nicer, that they give you that the other dies don't, with the Lee die you get a small powder dribbler, the shell plate that is appropriate for the round or caliber that you're working with, and you get 4 dies instead of 3. The 4 dies, you've got your bullet seating die, you have your carbide sizing die, you have your powder through expanding die, and you have your factory crimp die. Those are just a few of the different methods of dies from different manufacturers and different price ranges with different quality levels. Thanks for watching. And now, a dance.